Hey everybody, Shane here, Shoebox Legends. Thanks for joining me for the latest installment in my Warlords project. This is an ongoing collection where I'm attempting to collect one card of Major League Baseball's War Leader for every season from 1950 all the way through present day, and then onwards into the future even, as sort of a living, breathing set. In the previous installment of this, we covered 4 amazing pitching seasons, including Steve Carlton's legendary 1972 campaign. I'll leave a link to that below if you're curious. But for today, we are going to switch back to the offensive side of the ball to cover the next 4 seasons. And we're going to start with 1976. And a quick disclaimer before I get started, all of the numbers in today's episode and in this project are Fangraphs for. So your leader in 1976 was none other than Joe Morgan, those powerhouse Cincinnati Reds. And this card is sponsored by my good buddy Dom over at Staven Sports Cards, who gifted this to me when I met up with him at a card show recently, knowing that it would be a fit for this project. And I have indeed selected it as my card for 1976. Now, it's no surprise to see Joe on this list because this guy was a war machine. In fact, this was the 4th season of his career where he registered a WAR above 9. He just did everything well. He hit for average, 150 hits and a 320 average in 1976. He hit for power, 30 doubles, 27 home runs. He brought an element of speed to the game, 5 triples, stole 60 bags, which definitely contributed to that WAR. He had a great eye at the plate with 114 walks. And as a result, when you put all that together, he led all of baseball in on-base percentage, but also led all of baseball in slugging percentage. And of course, in turn, led all of baseball in OPS. He played on, as I mentioned, a great team as well, as we all know, and he benefited from that. He had 111 RBI and 113 runs scored in that 1976 campaign. He won his 2nd straight MVP, deservedly so. And although I wasn't living at the time, so we can argue about it in the comments if you'd like, but in my estimation, he was the greatest all-around player in the game of baseball during the mid-1970s. So no surprise to see him on this list and as your war leader for 1976. Now, Joe Morgan might not be a surprise, but my guess is this next subject absolutely is. And what's crazy is he had as good a year in 2011 as Joe did in 1976. But I doubt you would mention his name if you were trying to think through this project in your mind. And that is Jacoby Ellsbury. How wild is that? Probably the single most obscure player to make this collection, which I love. You know, I enjoy seeing these outliers among the Hall of Famers. These players who put it all together, had everything click and everything go just right for one magical season, and then really never approached that again. And that is the case for Ellsbury. His 2011 season, he put up a 9.5 WAR, exactly the same as Joe Morgan back in 1976. Just think about that for a minute. Really crazy. And their seasons were very similar as well. Morgan hit 320, Ellsbury hit 321. Morgan had, I think, 27 home runs. Ellsbury had 32. Morgan drove in 111 RBI. Ellsbury had 105. So their basic batting numbers were right there. Jacoby benefited from the friendly confines of Fenway Park. And so he had an incredible 46 doubles. So he had definitely more doubles than Morgan. But Morgan had more stolen bases. He stole 60 in 1976. Jacoby swiped 39, though, in 2011. Both of these guys played great defense, which is something I should have mentioned when I covered Joe Morgan. Ellsbury was patrolling center field in all of 2011. He played like over 150 games at center. So he really anchored that position for Boston, made all of the expected plays and many of the unexpected plays, highlight reel type stuff. Incredible defense, and just such a fun player to watch. Of course, he plummeted quickly, could never recapture that magic of 2011. A couple of years later, he was dealt to the Yankees of all teams, and then kind of really fell off the cliff even further with New York and was out of baseball, I think, after 2017. I want to say he played only through his early 30s, maybe age 32 or 33 season, and that was the end of the line for Ellsbury. But in 2011, everything came together. It was magical. It was one of the greatest seasons for any individual Red Sox player that I've ever witnessed. with my own two eyes and chose this magical Hope Diamond Anniversary parallel to represent Jacoby's 2011 season, one of my favorite modern parallels and a perfect card for this project. So yeah, 2 9.5 WAR seasons there. One from a guy you would absolutely expect it from in Joe Morgan, and one from a guy you would never predict in Jacoby Ellsbury. So for the second half of the video, to finish it off, this is going to be 2 subjects who you would 100% expect to see in this project. And in fact, they're the 2 guys that appear more frequently on this list than anyone else. We're going to start with 2001, and many of you probably know where I'm going with this. One of the most magical seasons in baseball history from a stats standpoint. And again, before I get into this card, I'm going to put opinions about PEDs aside. One of the beautiful things about this collection, it is based purely on mathematics. And emotion is removed from the equation. And so the fact of the matter is, your Major League Baseball WAR leader in 2001 was Barry Bonds. Evil Barry. Again, you know, this is the point where he was really starting to just destroy the baseball record books with like video game like numbers. Prime Barry Bonds. Just to cover some of them, he hit 328, had so many walks, well over 100, that his on-base percentage was .515. Okay, so he got on base more than half of the time that he stepped to the plate. He got at least as far as first base. That is mind-blowing. And of course, most notably, in 2001, he set the single-season home run record that still stands to this day at 73 home runs. And again, we're just talking math here. I don't want to get into a debate in this video about the eligibility of his statistics or his Hall of Fame candidacy or anything like that. Fact of the matter is, he hit 73 balls that cleared the fence in 2001. More than anyone's hit before that, more than anyone's hit since then. Just an incredible feat, 32 doubles. And of course, he led the league in slugging, OPS, etc. This was the first of 4 consecutive MVP seasons for Barry, and he had already won 3 back in the 90s before he went on that tear. So yeah, just an incredible statistic buildup in 2001 for this guy. Like, unlike anything we'd ever seen. The only thing that would really match it was like his next 3 seasons in 2002 through 2004, quite honestly. And this card is a really sneaky important one. And this is the exact card that I wanted to find to represent Barry in the collection, because it's a collision between an important moment in sports and an important moment in our hobby. And I love when that happens. This is something I've talked about in the past. But 2001 was the first year that Topps gave us the gold parallel, serial numbered to the year of release. So these being the first in 2001, they are numbered to 2001. I have copy 1774. Apologies for the glare. And these are such a well-known and popular parallel. They continue on to this day. You can pull a 2025 Topps Gold numbered to 2025 all these years later, coming up on a 25-year run. That longevity means a lot to me, and it's one of the most recognizable parallels in all of sports. So to have the first year of it coincide with that home run record and that insane season from Barry, I knew that this was the card that I wanted to get to represent 2001 in this collection. These are not that easy to find, despite being numbered as high as 2001, just because they are over a couple of decades old now. Many of them are off-centered. This one looks incredible, and I'm really happy. This was a recent pickup. Grabbed this just this past winter with this project in mind, but it's a card that I've kind of wanted for some time anyway, and this project just gave me the perfect reason to go after it and finally add it to the PC. So 2001 Barry Bonds, and we're going to close out today by going all the way back to the 50s with another giant slugger, the man who appears on this list as much as anybody else, more than anybody else, Willie Mays. In 1958, he had a 9.7 Fangraphs WAR, and to represent that, I picked up also this past winter, another new addition here, his 1958 Topps All-Star card. Beautiful copy. I really took my time. It took me a few weeks of waiting and searching and comparing and negotiating with sellers before I finally arrived at this. It's a 5.5. I don't really care about that at all. It's just a stunning looking card. This looks like it just fell out of the pack. And I wanted to choose this because, much like the Bonds, with the introduction of Topps Gold being something significant that happened in the hobby in 2001. Of course, in 1958, a significant hobby happening was the first All-Star cards in the Topps flagship set. And that's, of course, what we're looking at here for Willie Mays. So what did Willie do in 58? The same thing he did so many other years. 9.7 WAR, as I mentioned. He was the best all-around player in baseball history, in the opinions of many, and certainly was that in 1958. He crossed the 200 hit plateau, just like Ellsbury did in 2011. He had 208 hits, a .347 batting average, brought some great speed to the game as well, like many of these guys did, not so much Bonds, but 11 triples. He led the league with 31 stolen bases, and he also led the league with 121 runs scored. Great power, had 33 doubles, and paced the league with a 1.002 OPS. Anytime your OPS is over 1,000, that is a pretty insane season. And of course, as he did really every season of his career, provided highlight reel level defense in center field for San Francisco, which of course contributed significantly to his WAR as well for 1958. He finished second in the MVP voting to Ernie Banks with the Cubs. But I think most people would agree that, had we had the kind of modern statistics that we have now and the way we look at the game now, back in 1958, he likely would have been the winner. No offense to any Cubs fans out there, but regardless of whether he deserved the MVP or not, he did pace the league in WAR, and that is uncontroversial, undisputed fact based in math, which is what I love about this project. And so Willie Mays, just a fantastic and notable card in hobby history as well, with that gorgeous Topps All-Star. So that's going to conclude today's episode. We saw cards ranging all the way back into the 1950s and all the way in the 2011 set as well. So spanned a wide gap of baseball card history, which is one of the things that is so fun about this project. Really having a blast putting this together. Hope you enjoyed today's editions. I am already working on pulling or accumulating my cards for the next installment, so keep an eye out for that. But in the meantime, just keep enjoying the hobby, everybody. Take care.